What the heck? No. That literally gave me pain. My name is Patrick, and I've been playing the piano for nearly 9 years. On my YouTube homepage, I often see a lot of viral piano advice or top 3 things that you didn't know, and I thought a lot of them were kind of interesting or clickbaity, and I thought I would share them with you all to give you my advice and my take. Alrighty, let's get into it.
You're going to learn how to master playing arpeggios on the piano. Let's start with 1 octave using C major. Do not keep your wrist locked and do it like this, but rather move the wrist and the arm to accommodate whichever finger is playing. Now let's talk 2 octave arpeggio.
Yeah, so right off the bat, this is great. When you're playing the piano, you want to be moving freely. Motion is lotion. When you stop moving, that's when you start becoming really tense.
Arpeggios. The challenge here is what I call the jump spot. That's when you play 1, 2, 3, and then you need to get your thumb up here to C. The 2 biggest problems we see are jumping like this, or trying to do a finger legato, which is going to be impossible to play quickly. So the key is to keep your arm moving steadily. And when you get to this point, just jump. As long as you keep your arm moving, you'll cover up that it's not a true legato fingering. If you enjoyed this, be sure to hit the subscribe.
In my opinion, this is great advice. My piano teacher has always taught me that you want to move from A to B in the most energy efficient way possible. I'll give you an example. There's a song I'm learning right now where I have to do an arpeggio. And just like the guy said, I don't do this, I don't do this too much. And you want to think, what's the fastest way to get from here to here? The most energy efficient way. It's by jumping. It's not by twisting too much, right? The fastest way to get from this finger to this finger, it's jumping. So when I get here, I just jump. There's no need to do too much of this or jump too early. When you move across the keyboard, your hand should be as horizontal as possible. Always in the most energy efficient way to jump quickly from note to note. If you know Bruce Lee, he has a great quote on this.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Be water, my friend.
When you're playing the piano, you literally have to be water. You have to be able to flow like this. It's like this one etude from Chopin. It's called the waterfall etude because it's literally meant to be a waterfall. You have to like imagine the flow of water going up and down. In fact, my piano teacher even says you should try practicing like so relaxed that your arms literally fall onto the keys. But you need to understand what it's like to be that relaxed and then replicate it as much as possible while keeping your flow and everything.
More of our content.
Okay, I totally forgot, like, I know I made all these videos and compiled them, but I totally forgot that the next video was actually the waterfall etude that I was just talking about. This is the etude I'm talking about.
When you're building up strength and speed, don't start with strength and speed. You'll strain yourself, you'll get into very bad habits. It's just like in the gym, if you want to press 100 pounds, let's say you're a 14-year-old young small person, you don't start with 100 pounds, you start with 20 and see how you can build up your muscles and learn good form, learn how to support it with your whole body, and then you increase the weight you have until your muscles grow and develop in a healthy way. Whereas if you just try harder, you can actually damage yourself.
That is great advice, but I think he's not very direct. Like, he doesn't say exactly what that means. What does it look like? What I think he means by this is that when you start practicing, you should obviously practice slow and not harder. You should be relaxed and take your time with it. Oftentimes, especially when playing a piece I like, this even happens to me, I tend to speed up too quickly because I just like the sound of the music, and that's bad because then I started getting into bad habits and playing faster but with poor technique, and then my arm starts hurting, and that's really bad. Another great example from my teacher, the moment that you're hitting the key, you should be like a little bit tense. If someone tries to move your wrist, it should be kind of locked. But that's only at the millisecond that your finger hits the key. But right after, your wrist should be very, you see how like my wrist is not locked and tense? You hit the key and you shake out, you do circle movements. You can even breathe to help you understand what it's like to be, right? You overdo it, really, so you understand the point. That's how you learn how to actually hit the key. Right after the note makes the sound, then I could relax into the note. Great etude. Yeah. So This is actually really funny. Initially, what I thought he was gonna do was that he shows him playing the song fast, and then how pianists actually practice, I thought he was gonna play it super slow with metronome, maybe with alternating rhythms. That's a great way to practice. But this is very true as well. This is definitely more comedic, but great points. As pianists, sometimes it's hard to get the right touch, the right feel, and play the right dynamics. Like as you see here, oh, the C feels a little too loud, no, it's too soft. And then for someone else, it might actually be not loud enough. First things first, I was gonna say, as pianists, we have our own interpretation of everything. Obviously, you'd want to stick as close to the sheet music as possible if it's classical music, but you can always add a little bit more of your own flair, a little bit more rubato. And one more thing I have to say about this is that when you study the music, you should study it perfectly, like a robot, like a student, perfectly, with perfect rhythm, everything on beat, on metronome, even if it says retardando or whatever, just so you understand the flow of the melody, right? But then when you actually perform the piece or practice playing it at home, that's when you start adding more slowing down, more strength, and maybe not playing the exact rhythm, right? But you have to know how the exact original piece is intended, and then from there, you kind of make your own interpretation. A mistake I used to do was I used to, off the bat, already do my own interpretation, but then later when I would look at recordings of me performing pieces, I would realize that rhythm is off. That's why you have to learn the right way first, like
literally like a robot.
Okay, what is this? Da da da. And then when you know the piece really well, then you can start playing around with it. But this is very relatable. This happens to me very often. I would say don't overthink about it. Don't try to be overly musical. Just play with your emotions.
It's always about the music first. Learn something a step above where you are. You know what I'm saying? And then try to figure it out later. Like the first thing I learned was a song. Because I didn't have the theory, I was like looking at every single note, and I didn't see the big picture until I started learning piano. I was like, oh, that's just an arpeggio. That's just C sharp minor, A flat minor. Theory just makes sense of what you're doing, but it's always the music first.
This is great advice, and as someone who has started playing jazz about 2-3 years into my piano playing, I started learning jazz with one of my piano teachers. I'll be honest, I really don't like jazz that much. I think some progressions are nice and cool, but what I will say, it has taught me a lot about music theory and musical progressions. If you are a beginner pianist and you just listen to that video, you're like, what the heck is E diminished? What the heck is A flat minor and all this? This is a great reason why I think you should probably have a piano teacher. Because when you're starting out, if you're looking at those synesthesia videos where it just puts the color of the notes and you kind of play it like that on the piano, that's how I started, then you never actually understand the true flow of music, and you're making it harder, honestly. So yes, it actually is a little bit harder to learn all the theory and then play music and then understand the theory inside the music, but it's so much more worth it. Also, you don't have to stop playing your pieces while learning music theory. You can just do both at the same time. When you have a teacher, you don't have to worry about all this stuff. A good teacher, I think, would explain to you playing E major, and then we're moving to this, and then look at this chord. And then when you understand the flow of the music, it's a lot easier to remember. And actually, it makes it easier to memorize too. You don't have to think, okay, this note, this note, this note, that note, that note. You're just thinking, oh, E arpeggio, like the guy said, or E chord. Seeing the big picture in music makes it easier to play and to memorize. For example,
right now, if you look at the sheet music, it looks super complicated. Oh my gosh, so many notes. Oh my gosh, what the heck am I gonna do? But really, if you know music theory, you realize it's the same 8 chord progressions with a different variation every time. Yes, music theory is harder and perhaps more annoying to learn, but when you do go through that hard work and pain, then other things become easier, like this.
3 bad piano techniques that you might not even know you're doing. Number 3 is super common. The first bad technique is when you play and your fingertips just slightly hover above the keys. This means your fingers are slightly tensed up, so you need to let them fall on the keys to relax. It's a very small detail, but notice the visual difference. The second mistake is when students play from the top.
Okay, I'm gonna do one tip at a time here because otherwise I'm gonna forget it. But the first tip is actually, I think it's good advice. I think it still happens to me nowadays, especially when trying to play faster scales. I generally feel that my pinky's a little hovered. Although one of my piano teachers said that it's fine, that it's not bad, and over time it will get more relaxed. And he said it's also because the 5th and 4th finger, they're actually connected with the same tendon, which is why it's hard to play trills on 4 and 5. For this one, honestly, I would say just listen to her. I think she knows better than me on this one. Try to keep it down and be more relaxed.
The second mistake is when students play from the top down, starting from the the air like this. It's much better to play from the bottom up, which means that you start from the keys first and then move, as resting your fingers on the keys allows them to relax between each note. Last but not...
Yeah, this is great advice, and think about this logically. Like, when you're trying to jump, actually, let's see if I can, fans on, so let's hope I don't break my head here. So when you try to jump, like, you don't jump up to try to jump up, right? You kind of squat down a little bit, and then you push yourself up, right? Like it's the same thing with piano. You don't go from the top down. You stay on the key, and then when you hit the key, you use that to go up.
Last but not least, a common mistake is when students play with their wrist pushing ahead of their fingers. This is bad because you're creating a huge amount of tension there, and so the right way to play is letting the wrist follow behind the fingers, keeping them naturally relaxed and free. Hope these tips help, and follow me to play piano like a pro.
The last one, when I first saw the video, I actually tried it myself, and I think naturally my wrist was already doing that. Maybe it's because my teacher taught me well, so I never struggled with this one. And I tried playing it wrong, like the way she showed, and it's just really awkward. Maybe it happens when you play really fast that your wrist starts going too much in front. But in my experience, this doesn't really happen often. If it does with you, then that means you're playing too fast, in my opinion. What the heck? No, chill. Yo, okay. I'm sorry. I genuinely used to think that was a good thing. My first teacher said that you have to strengthen the fingers and stuff, but honestly, I kind of disagree a little bit. After having multiple piano teachers and seeing other piano advice online, this is like, you can't, so fingers don't have muscles, right? And actually, I think that might be helpful to help you practice your hand-eye coordination. Like you tell your brain to do these two, and it does these two, and then these two, and then these two. That's good, but you shouldn't. In the video, it looks like he was straining his fingers, like putting so much pressure on them that like they're about to explode. It's good if you kind of like do it relaxed and you try to change it like that. But honestly, I don't think it's the best thing. It will come over time by practicing more and using your arm more and being more relaxed. And the fingers are really the final piece of the puzzle. Like if you had to focus on the most important things, like that's the last thing you would do, right? It's the arm, right? It's the arm, the forearm, the shoulder. That's the most important. The fingers are the final piece. There's actually a very interesting video on the biomechanics of all the fingers that Chopin kind of knew or talked about or something. I'm gonna link in the description if you want to take a look. The song is fire. So first of all, before I say anything, I can't play either of those songs that he just played. Maybe it's also because I haven't like practiced them, right? I've never tried playing La Campanella, but that part there, it is a lot of octaves. And yeah, it's difficult, but octaves, if you get the form down, the technique down, it's really just wrist up and down and forearm up and down and arms up and down. And once you get the movement, it's not that hard, but obviously it's still hard to get there first. But the second part is way harder, and it actually relates to the video we just saw before about the thirds like that. Yeah, that's really hard. I actually tried doing this a couple days ago, and even just doing 2 or 3 thirds is really difficult. And the craziest part is it doesn't sound like it, right? A lot of things in piano, like the campanella looks hard, and it is, but compared to the other one that sounds kind of easy, oh, it's just, you know, going up and down, but it's really difficult with one hand with the thirds. Yeah, that's something I can really relate to. What my teacher said about the double thirds, a good way to do it is doing one finger at a time. So you just play the third, and then you just play the first, and then you put them together slowly. And for octaves, if you're struggling to even reach octaves, because some people have smaller fingers.
Dorothy Taubman is someone who taught how to play piano with more effectiveness and more efficiency. And one great technique she has for smaller hands is this. Let's say your hands are too small to reach an octave. Actually, I'm gonna do 9, because since my hand is a little bigger. Let's say I struggle to reach 9, right? You see how my hand is? That's probably how you're trying to play. But what you do, you turn this like this, and then you play it. This is a lot more relaxing and tense-free on my hand. So try the same thing with an octave. Instead of playing it like this, kind of turn those fingers and separate them a little bit more, and you'll see it's probably way easier. And that's because our hands were not meant to be at equal distance from each finger. The thumb is meant to be further away. So instead of forcing your index finger to be as close to your thumb, let it naturally be more away from it, and you'll be way less tense when trying to play that octave. Give it a shot.
If you want to play fast and even like this, you've got to stop playing like this. This is the biggest technique mistake I see with my students. If you aren't sure what your hands and fingers look like, try recording yourself with your phone. Make sure to switch sides so you can see your right hand too. It's important to curve each finger at the first joint and keep your hand shaped like you're holding a golf ball.
What the? Okay, so the initial advice was pretty good. You don't want to keep your fingers flat when you're playing, not like this. You want to keep them curved naturally. And recording is a great thing. I record my practice, I record my playing, whatever you can record. Even get maybe a friend or a family member to record you so that you're more nervous. Practice with those nerves, that's great too. Remember that when you play down on the key, you don't want your finger collapsing like this. No, you want it like this, right? Like this. Almost as if you're plucking. If you think of a harp, you know the harp, the instrument like that, how they like pluck the strings, or a guitar, it's the same thing kind of with the piano. That's the best way to learn how to play fast like that. And then actually, to explain to you why this is better, try using your whole hand right now against your other hand and press like that, like collapse all the joints, and then try to press as hard as you can, okay? Now, don't collapse them, keep them curved, and now press as hard as you can. You'll realize that you have way more strength when you keep them curved, because it's like a bridge. Here the bridge is snapped, it's completely snapped, it's unstable. All the strength coming from this finger just stops. It just stops because it doesn't have anywhere to flow into because it's so curved. But here, it all flows into it, like it's fully connected, right? That's why it's better to play curved. And I'm showing you this so you understand, not just so you're told, oh, play curved because you have to play curved. No, I like understanding why certain things work and why other things don't. And also that last part when she was doing the one finger at a time is great, but I don't know why she had her wrist so high up. That was just really weird. I would just do one finger at a time normally, you know, da 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 da, like at this level, but you don't have to put your wrist so high up. She just looks so tense and relaxed, and that literally gave me pain. I don't know how to explain it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my critique, my advice, and I actually learned a lot from this too, and if you did as well, let me know in the comments. If you want to see more things like this, let me know in the comments too. And on that note, I'll see you in my next video. Peace.